In today's video, we're diving into Shieldaig's 12-year-old Scotch, exploring what makes it a standout among more traditional whiskeys, how does a younger Scotch like this hold up in terms of smoothness and flavor, and what happens when we mix it into a cocktail. What unique tasting notes can you expect from the Scotch, and how do flavors like honey and vanilla stand out? Stick around to find out, and by the end, I'll share some creative pairings to complement this bold Scotch. Today, we're going to continue our series on Shieldaig. There's a lot of things to cover. There's a lot of different years, a lot of different expressions. I've got the 12-year rum cask, 12-year normal, and then I believe I have a 21-year, a 25-year, and then a 30-year. There's an 18-year as well. Maybe I'll put that in this mix. There's also a 14-year. I'm not 100% sure. In my last video, I kind of touched on those, but I don't think I'm actually going to include those because I think with 2 of the 12-year on that tier, I could just bump up straight to the 21, 25, and 30 and see how we feel about them all. But anyways, like I normally do, we're going to go over the presentation. We're going to talk a little bit about Shieldaig. Then we're going to put it on our nose, palate, do some pairings, and I'm going to give you my final thoughts. So sit back and relax, pour yourself something nice to drink in. Let's get started. Shieldaig is a new brand. It's a Speyside. It is from Scotland. It's a Scotch, of course. And it is, from my understanding, a brand that is used for Total Wine, kind of like Barrowman's. It says imported by Silver Lake Imports, Miami, Florida. You know, but it is from Scotland. So it is Scotch. But it is not necessarily an old brand. It is a new brand. And I'm not against that. I had the, what I had so far? I've had the rum cask finish, 12-year, and I thought it was good. And it's something that I might actually hold on to. I might actually keep this out of my collection on a regular basis because for its price point and the interesting notes that it had as a whiskey, I think it's something that's enjoyable and something that I might use maybe to make cocktails with, and maybe every once in a while to drink straight. I might soften it up with a little bit of water or maybe a little bit of ice, but overall I liked it. It's hard for me to talk a lot about brands that are new and really talk about the region they're from and talk about their distilling techniques because there's not a lot of information out there. We just have to assume that because of the region it's from, in Speyside, it's got a lot of that heritage and that's been imparted on what this product is in this bottle. But much more than that, don't really know. It'll probably be a few years before we find out, as long as this keeps on being produced and brought to the United States by Total Wine or some other vendor, but I'm assuming it's Total Wine that's going to be the only one that brings it in. So I'm going to keep my ear to the street. I'm going to try to learn more as we do the series, and then I'm going to share the information with you as it comes to me. Let's go ahead and take a look at the presentation, see what we think. I mean, it's a pretty standard presentation. I do like that they use this heavy-duty cardboard. I like that they have the tin on the top and the bottom. That's always nice. It's got good text. It's like a standard blue. It looks good. I mean, I like the gold on it. I think it has an overall nice presentation. The thing is that all of the 12, I believe the 21, the 25 have similar looking presentations, but I think the 30 is like a little bit more dark blue. It has some text on the front. It's real basic. It just says the lock of the herring. The fishermen, traders, and travelers who inhabited Shieldaig, the lock of herring, over the centuries have rightly considered themselves lucky in life. A taste of this good fortune can still be enjoyed today with every measure of Shieldaig fine Scotch whiskey. Nice. And then, of course, it talks a little bit about it on the back, and I think I've already read this in other videos, but I'll go ahead and touch on it again. Taking its name from the Old Norse Shieldaig, the lock of herring is truly a wild and beautiful place. The sharp fragrance of pine-studded islands, the flash of silver herring in the dark waters of the loch. Interesting, you know, Torridon Hills. It's just a basic little, you know, story that's on the back and the front of this presentation, but it's a pretty basic presentation, but it's nice. You know, I think it's a decent gift. It's something that looks good when you give it away to somebody and say, hey, here you go, I got this for you. The color, a very light, almost orange. I want to say amber, but not really. It's almost brown. Very light. Doesn't look bad, but we're gonna know what it's like once we put it on our palate and we give it a taste. But of course, we're gonna nose it as well. Just says 12-year-old. It's got a little bit of the text on the front, the same thing that we kind of read on the packaging. think it looks like a pretty standard presentation. You know, it is what it is. The price point isn't very high. This is a lower tier whiskey, but the 12-year rum cask finish, I was pretty surprised. It had a lot of honey to it, a lot of flavor, and more than I expected. It was a little rough, but that's kind of to be expected from a 12-year. So I was pretty happy with it. Something I think I'm going to drink on the regular. Let's see how it sounds. Yeah, okay. Smells pretty standard. Whole lot of vanilla and oak. A little bit of sweetness, almost like a syrup. But, you know, very alcohol forward. Not acetone, not that strong, but decently powerful in the nose. All right, let's put it on our palate. See what happens. A little too rough for me. Very rough in the throat, almost acidic, and then coarse down the esophagus. But I'll give it one more chance. I probably would never drink that neat, to be honest. I'm not saying it's bad, but it's just not something that I would drink. Yeah, you know, it's full-bodied, a little bit of oil, decent texture, but just way too coarse. You taste a lot of the oak, you taste a lot of the barrel, and it, for me, just needs more time to develop. But, you know, that's my opinion. So we'll see what other people's opinions are as we go along and talk about this in the future. I've got some pairings to go with it. I've got this really interesting Korean barbecue almond. I've got some sea salt and dark chocolate from Ecuador. And then I've got some really dark chocolate covered almonds that I think would go well with this, because this actually would cut through with all the fat. Kind of a miss. Let's go with the straight dark chocolate and the salt. That's nearly perfect together. Very heavy, bitter chocolate with some salt. Really cuts through the strength of whiskey. And the whiskey's a little too overpowering. Let's try this Korean barbecue. Yeah, the whiskey's just too much. It's too powerful. So, I'm going to make a drink with it. I've been making cocktails with these younger expressions, the lower tier whiskeys. You don't have to if you don't want to, but it's something I don't mind doing. I actually made an elderflower highball recently. I think it was on a video for Dewar's. I think it was 15 year. I'm going to do it again. I think I went too light on the whiskey. So this time around, I'm going to go a little heavier. And this actually is a really stout whiskey. So I actually think this is going to work, because the elderflower was just too powerful. It was nice. It was very fragrant, very floral, but it was too much. So right now I'm getting the lemon, really, really loose. I'm releasing those oils and getting the juice out. I'm going to get me some mint, because I do want that as well. Need something a little fragrant. Get my knife. Also get my spoon, which is long. Plenty of ice. Got my elderflower. And we're going to go ahead and get started. Let's go ahead and give us 2 parts. The only thing I'm missing is my soda water. Look at that. I got soda water. Great. That worked out very well. Excellent. All right. Give a little bit of a pour. Let that fizz. Nice carbonation in there. This time around, instead of giving myself 2 parts to 1 part, now I'm going to do 1 to 2. So I'm going to have much less of the elderflower. I like the fragrance of this. I like the flavor, but it just was way too overpowering. So I don't think that's going to be the case this time around. So, you know, of course, always adjust your recipes as you need to. Give myself a little bit of this mint. That oil out of it. Really get it in there. Never afraid to mix it in. Give myself some lemon. You always want the outside of that skin, you know. Really want to get where the oil's right, not much of the juice. You just really just get in there, kind of twist it, pull it around the rim if you can. Just a little more. Give myself a little bit of this soda water. A little good mix. A little bit, tiny bit of the lemon itself for the juice. Not much, just a little bit. Dab it around so it doesn't get some oils in the flavor out. Go ahead and take this and clap it a little bit to release some of the oils. Make it much more fragrant. Tap it in there. I'm going to give it a taste. Much better. I might even say 3 parts of the whiskey to 1 part of the elderflower, at least in my opinion. This whiskey is a little bit better for it because I think it's stronger and it imparts more flavor onto the drink as compared to the other whiskey I used at Dewar's 15-year. But of course, you experiment. Use this as a guide. You just do things as you see fit, but always keep your person you're consuming with or the people you're sharing with in mind. Never make it overpowerful to where they don't know what they're drinking. Always be conscious of other people, you know, their level of drinkability. Smoothness on this, I would give this maybe a 3 or 4. It's very low on the smoothness scale. I wouldn't drink this very often, and I probably wouldn't keep it in my collection. Doesn't mean it's bad, it just means it's not for me. This is not what I'm into. But I wanted to share it with you guys, so I hope to hear your thoughts, your opinions. Write me some comments, tell me some other things you want to learn about. I'm always looking to learn alongside you, just like you saw me doing with this drink. I've been making this cocktail from 2 different episodes. So please like, subscribe, and share. Let me know what you want to learn about. I'm always here for that. Thank you.